Everyone called my grandmother a witch. Right before my husband and I left for our vacation, she whispered in my ear, "Do not go with him. You will not return alive." Then she added, "Before canceling the trip, do exactly one thing." She said, "Check the second bag tag on his suitcase." I laughed it off in the car. My husband asked what she'd whispered, and I told him she just wanted a hug before we left. He believed me because he always believes me, and that's part of why the rest of this feels so insane. My grandmother has never once been wrong. She called my father's heart attack 2 years before it happened, told him almost casually over dinner to see a doctor before he turned 50, and he laughed it off the same way I laughed off the airport thing in the car. She told my cousin her marriage wouldn't survive the second year, and it didn't, almost to the week. Half our family avoids her at holidays because she makes people uncomfortable with how plainly she says things nobody wants to hear. But I grew up at her kitchen table drinking tea out of mugs with blue flowers on them, and I know the difference between her guessing and her being certain. Guessing, her voice goes soft and apologetic, like she's sorry for even bringing it up. Certain, her voice goes flat and quiet, and she doesn't blink. That morning at the door, holding my face in both hands, she didn't blink once. I kept turning it over the whole drive. My husband talked about the rental car pickup, and I nodded along, not hearing a word of it, thinking about her hands and how they'd trembled against my cheeks, not from age this time, but from something closer to fear. So at the airport, while he went to get us coffee before boarding, I knelt by his suitcase like I was fixing my shoe and flipped the second tag over. 2 names were printed on it, Tiz, and one I didn't recognize. Same flight, same date, different confirmation code. I typed the code into the airline's app right there on the floor of the terminal. 2 travelers, companion added 4 days ago. Seats 2A and 2B, first class. My seat, the one on my actual boarding pass, was 14C coach, alone. He came back with 2 coffees and handed me mine like nothing was wrong, and for one humiliating second, I almost let myself believe nothing was. That's the part nobody warns you about. How ordinary betrayal looks from 3 feet away. He asked if I was excited. I said I was. Through security, he kept his phone angled away from me out of habit more than caution, like he'd stopped bothering to hide it months ago, and I just never looked hard enough to notice. He got a text while we were in the bin line and smiled at it. A real smile, the kind he used to give me. I didn't say anything. I put my shoes back on slowly, giving myself an extra few seconds to breathe, and kept thinking about my grandmother's hands on my shoulders at the door. How cold they'd felt, like she already knew exactly what she was letting me walk into. At the gate, they called first class, and he went up without glancing back to check if I was even in line. He walked down the jet bridge like I'd already stopped existing the second we cleared the checkpoint. I boarded a few minutes later. Row 14, exactly like the app said. 3 rows behind him. Close enough that if I leaned into the aisle, I had a clear line on seat 2B. A woman was already sitting there. She said something and he laughed at it the exact way he used to laugh at things I said, back when he still looked at me like I was the funny one. I didn't cry. I didn't stand up and make a scene in front of 40 strangers while a flight attendant closed the overhead bins. I thought about "You will not return alive," and for the first time, I understood my grandmother hadn't meant my body. She'd meant whoever I was before I flipped that tag over wouldn't survive whatever came next. Whoever got off this plane, if I stayed on it, was going to be someone else entirely. I took one photo, low and angled so it wouldn't catch light off the window, both their faces in the same frame, his hand already resting on her armrest like it belonged there. Then I pressed the call button. The flight attendant crouched by my seat, and I told her, quietly, that I needed off before the doors closed. Family emergency. She didn't ask a single question, just radioed it in, and a gate agent was walking down the aisle for me and my bag inside of 2 minutes. That's when he finally turned around. I watched 4 expressions cross his face in under a second. Confusion, recognition, then something close to panic when he clocked the gate agent standing beside me with my carry-on